Hey YouTube, it's Matt here from Hobby Spot NZ, and today I'm going to do a little sort of informational help video. This will be starting the process on painting tutorial that I'll do, and I just wanted to show you how I cleaned up some of these miniatures and how you go about basing them. So I'm basing these guys on 25mm round bases, like this guy here. And the way that most models come in terms of ancients is that they have this big, bulky, almost like a silhouette base on the bottom already. Now I want to get rid of that because if we were to glue that on top, you can see there that there is a lip problem. So when you go to cover that, you're gonna have to really fill that in and do more work than you need to. So what I do with all my models is I'm going to trim them up, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now so that we can get something along the lines of that. Right. So, tools that we're going to need. You're going to need your base, you're going to need your mini, you're going to need possibly a set of these. It's going to make your life a lot easier. My ones are broken, but they're just a pair of hobby nippers. You're going to need a wee file, either metal or a plastic file. This is a metal one, I think, but it does for plastic. You're going to need your little craft knife, and then you're going to need your plastic glue as well. So you could get away with it if you didn't have this tool here. You could get away with just using this. It would be a little bit more painful and take a little bit longer, but you could absolutely do that. So let's get everything out of the way and begin. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use the flat end of our nippers, and that's going to be doing most of our hard work. And so you're going to follow the line of his foot there. Now you can see him going hard up against the foot, but not actually hitting the foot itself. He's going to pinch together nice and gently, and you'll get something like that. Now that looks quite messy at the moment, but once we're all tidied up, it will come right. And you can just continue to do so. You just get around there like so, and you can see we've got a nice clean cut there where his foot would be. And what we're hoping to achieve here is just leave a square under each foot so that we can get into the next stage. So I'm just going to come in here, be gentle because you don't want to flex the leg too much. And you can see how it's made that incision there. Now all I'm going to do is just come in flush and flat on there and clip that one. Now you can see that it moved quite a bit, but now we have a separated leg. I'm going to do the same on the inside, if I can get that shot there, and the same on that part there. There you go. And now you've got this chunk cut out. Now we're just going to go around the frame of the foot, so we're just going to make sure to be careful not to get his toes there. Clip that off, and always be careful when doing this because you can chop yourself as well. Now we're using the flat end of this to go alongside the base of the foot there. And then there's that sort of triangle at the back. We're just going to flush that up and tidy it up. And that's essentially what we're hoping to achieve, is something along the lines of that. And just, you can see there, just not taking the toes off. And then we have it. So we're left with that. You can see almost like he's got platform shoes on. Clear all your debris, and then we're going to go into the next stage of this, which is using the craft knife. So a little bit more tricky. I'm going to try see if I can get this camera angle right, and I'll be back in a short second. Alright, so we're back. I had to change angles for this because I've got a very particular technique that I use. We have the two platform shoes there, and what we're going to use is this to essentially chop them into two flat little plates underneath the foot here. Now I'm using the edge of the desk because it's sometimes what it's nice to do is lay his leg flat, see if I can get that in frame, lay his leg flat and then try and chop, and you want to line up your blade so that it ends up being like that for both the cuts, if you can see that there. So if you can get it to be on that same angle, you're going to have a nice flush model on the base. So we're going to try and do this here on camera for you to see if we can get that. Okay, so you can see here that it's tricky. I have to try and come in on an angle here, and I can't really flip the model upside down without, being a bit awkward. So I like to come in as on that sort of angle as much as I can. Sometimes what you could do is go from here, from the front of the foot. I usually like to go from the side. If you go from the front of the foot, it just takes a little bit more precision to just keep that flush. I'll see if I can demonstrate for you now. So you can see the blade there, flush as you can, just gently applying, and there we go. And you can see that's the result that we end up, like a thin, like 0.1 mil layer under his foot. Now the trick to this is making sure that the flat end of your blade, if you can see that, is flush when you're making the next cut, because if you come in on a different angle, you're going to have two different legs at different pitches. So we want to make sure the pitch is the same. You make sure that's flush on the blade and use that as a guide, and then apply the exact same, head down, apply some pressure, and there we go. Now we can just do a wee test. You can see there's two bits there, and you're probably thinking, yeah, that's still relatively thick, Matt. And you can see there that it's sitting flush on the blade. Now what we can do as well, you can see that there's these little bits around here. Basically just run your knife along the same line as the leg, or as on the, you can see there that little bit on the foot, and you're just going to trim those bits off. Nice and easy. It does take a little bit of time, but it's nice to have a model that's flush to the base, and you may as well put the time in for a start and not have to worry about it later. So we're going to come back and then we're going to do the final process of this model. Okay, so now that we've chopped those feet, we're going to use our file here, and we're just going to run the file on a, I like to guide it with my fingers, like that, and you're going to put it flat, and you're trying to hit both surfaces of the feet at the same time. And this is just going to mean that if there was any inconsistencies with pitch, you can see there that that one is not quite flush, that you're going to file that down until both meet. And this is important to leave that little, like, half a bit there, because some of that will come off when you're doing that. So let's just go here. You don't need to do much, actually. It's just a couple of those. Be careful of the spear. You don't snap that off, and you can see that there are flat little panels. Now on the base, you will see those flat little panels when you glue it on. But it's not going to matter, because once you put your grit and everything else on, it's actually going to blend into the surface itself. So all we're going to do now is put a little dab of glue. I use plastics glue. You can use whatever you like on the feet. Grab your base and just position him, and just make sure that he's flush. And if he's not flush, you can always go back and change it up. And then just sort of wiggle him into place so that glue kind of sets. And you can see there now that that man looks pretty darn good on that base. There's a bit of tidy up I need to do on that spear and things, but for the most part, that's looking pretty good. And that's been the video, guys. So I appreciate you watching if you've stuck around this far, and this has been a quick view and a wee tutorial on how to tidy up your models, just for if you want to base them on a nice flush base rather than making up a bulked one. So stick around. I might have a painting tutorial soon for one of these guys, and we will catch you in the next one.